Donald Trump is trying to have it
I'm tired of
all his way. But one of the slapbacks or clapbacks that I appreciated in these last couple of days,
Clapbacks is not a thing.
Not at all. But clapbacks, okay.
Clapbacks, you know me, I make up sayings.
Yes.
All the time. So does Tiff,
They've been
apparently.
around for a long
You burn them
time.
at both ends of the stick. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's true too. But one of the knockdowns that I appreciated was Harvard basically saying no, no, and hell no.
Yeah.
To all of the administration's demands with regard to, you know, their ability to have say in admissions, teaching credentials, degree programs, what type of targeted research an institution does. Basically, they were going to be demanding what they did, obviously, of Columbia, similarly, is a bending of the knee of the institution and the ending of any version of academic freedom as it exists. The hallmark of our system of education, part of that hallmark, one, is that teachers, particularly after they are tenured, can't be fired for their views, for their teaching style or orientation while in the classroom, for their political views outside of it, or even in the class, they can write op-eds, author them, so on and so forth. And this administration wants to, we already know it, squelch all opposition.
Yeah.
Any contrarian view, any opposite saying. And Harvard, so far as I can tell, along with a number of law firms that have taken a stand.
Thank God.
Yeah.
not that many number.
But the truth is that
More to
Harvard's probably the only
being
one we can call
extorted.
out in higher education right now.
So far.
So far. And again, we can't ignore the privilege, obviously,
Correct.
that Harvard has to be able to make these kinds of decisions. The endowment, I think they've got an endowment that's
They have a
larger than
multi-billion-dollar
13
endowment. You and I, we both,
We
not
both-
at the same time, but we
yes.
taught there for a semester. And I heard this idiot saying that he taught there and he was treated like a pariah because he's a conservative. And it's so ridiculous that they don't recognize Harvard is not this liberal institution of leftist extremist thought. You know,
Not
like
at all.
there are a lot of challenges at the school that students are confronting. And what concerns me about Donald Trump even going after these institutions of higher education, it is right out of the dictator's playbook.
Sure it is.
This is precisely, I think it was Putin who said wars are not won on the battlefield, they're won in the classroom. Modi of India has targeted universities. Bukele has targeted universities. Like dictator after dictator has gone after classrooms and controlled
Yes.
thought.
Yeah, because they don't want you thinking.
Right.
And to the
exactly.
extent that they want you thinking what they are teaching you to think.
Yeah.
That the in
Orbán, that's what I was saying. In Hungary. Orbán in
Victor,
Hungary
yeah.
has also, I think, attempted to privatize universities.
it's classic because if you can tell the people what to think,
Yes.
then you start to tell them how to
Yeah.
think, and all the actions that flow from it, you'll recognize that it's largely going to be in submission to government, right? To oligarchical rule,
Yeah.
to whoever's in charge. They're going to teach us that the reason why we don't have what we think we ought to have and what we think we ought to own is that by divine birthright, our divine right did not entitle us to it.
Yeah.
And if you teach your people that over time, you could, there is a whole generation of folks who exist right now, y'all, who don't know their privacy rights because they've made everything so public posts, public pictures, how you're feeling in a moment. They wouldn't know right now how to fight back around a First Amendment challenge. Like, do I not have the right to say
Right.
and speak what I believe?
Or even confronted in real time with representatives of the state. Like, how do you interact with them? I was trying to find this quote, which I just found, but I also wanted to point out, and I am going to embarrass myself because Andrew, you'll tell me how to pronounce his name. Pinochet?
Oh, Pinochet.
Yes, Pinochet.
Yeah.
Not Pinochet.
Right,
Pinochet.
Pinochet.
Pinocchio.
What's that?
Pinocchio.
Angela for the win.
Well, he was a Pinocchio.
Yes.
Pinochet in Chile was also a person who took over universities
He
and
ran as a outsider, bringing in the
Right.
voice of the regular people, which
all
is
the
generally how they
same
start.
thing. It is all the same. And when you see this, the similar patterns,
yeah.
it is frightening. But the quote that I was trying to look up while you were talking is from our own Carter G. Woodson, who of course is one of the, or the founder of Black History Month. But he says, if you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his action. Yes.
Send him there.
Yes.
Send him there. If there is no back door, he will create one for its special purpose.
And our own American history.
That's right.
I mean, this is not the first time that we have banned books, but also even the idea of banning books, that is straight out of Nazi Germany.
For sure.
So the idea that there have been ceremonies where they're burning books. I mean, it's just a weird thing, but also it's dumb because I'm looking at these white folks. I'm like, why you want your kids to be dumber than ours?
They don't.
Like, don't you want your children to know the real history of America? Don't you want your children to know the authentic story of the American Revolution? Don't you want them to know how the Constitution came to be?
Never want history to
want to be the
record
narrators.
what the oppressed have done.
Yeah.
They don't. The worst thing the Bible could have done was given us a David and Goliath story.
Yeah.
No one wants it reported that the poor guy from nowhere, of no name, of no background, of no privilege or wealth or title, can beat the biggest, tallest, baddest, richest, wealthiest, most connected thing in the room.
Yeah.
Because that could inspire an uprising of the proletariat.
Native Land Pod is a production of iHeart Radio in partnership with Reason Choice Media. For more podcasts from iHeart Radio, visit the iHeart Radio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.